All right, well, it's the start of another weekend, and all week I've been just kind of putting layers of making sure all the end grains are nice and sealed with poly. I've decided not to put chop strand on both sides of these as kind of a preliminary covering. It was going to eat up probably about 4.5 to 5 gallons of resin to do that, and to be honest with you, that's going to put, it's another $125, that you got to spend. And from what I have read and looked and seen all the different rebuilds out there, it's really not necessary to wrap them 100%. Now, the bottom of the deck, we are going to do that because it'll help, but these are going to be encased in fiberglass, completely all the way around. And the 1708 has 0.8 of an ounce of chop strand on the back of it, so you'll get matte strand, in layers. And it'll be more than enough, whereas, we're sitting here trying to just make this thing like Fort Knox. It's just not necessary. So what I did is I've got them completely sealed and ready to go. And then what I've done is had to take a little detour this morning and go up to Home Depot. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting pieces of PVC pipe to go at the bottom of the bulkheads. And I'm actually going to cut them the height of the plywood here, so they're the same thickness, and then cut them in half, and then I'll trace a spot right here, cut it out, and then I'll put a little bit of resin on it, and then let that kick off, and then I'm going to 3M 5200 glue this stuff in place, so therefore we get kind of an archway for water to come out of, because I do not want drainage problems in this boat. And we'll do this, and then I'm going to use smaller PVC pipe at different spots. After I put the stringers in, we'll pop a little hole through it, and then run our pieces or our plugs of PVC to help the drainage go. So, and I just wanted to get the bulkheads done first. So that's where I am right now. I'm going to start working on those, and then hopefully I'll be able to get these things glued in today. I've wrestled all week about if I want to build the kick out, which for the engine goes, it comes up, the main stringer goes out about 4 inches, then up another 4 inches. And I thought about building it outside the boat, but I don't know where they're going to end up height-wise once we bed them in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut little pieces of this foam and use it to hold the stringers up off the deck as I PL them in. That way they're bedded in nicely. At least that's the plan. I change my mind all the time, so we'll kind of see what's going on. But hopefully I'll get these stringers bed in this weekend, so that way they can cure all week, and we can add peanut butter fillets all the way around, so maybe next weekend we start glassing. Not quite sure. I'm trying to take the end of next week off completely so I can start doing this stuff. We're coming up on May really quick. We're halfway through April, and I need to get really cracking on this because stringers are just a small portion. Get the deck on there, we still got to put the engine back in, we got to paint the deck, we got to get all the interior in. There's a lot of stuff, so not sure we're going to make the Memorial Day deadline, but we're certainly going to try. Next one is July 4th, because my wife's birthday is the 7th, and she likes being on the lake. So, and then I also got to find time to get the Glastron out of storage, de-winterize it, and detail it up, so that way we can put it up for sale. So that's what I'm going to work on this morning. I'm going to get all the rest, and get this stuff done, cut out, and ready to go on these 2 bulkheads, and start gluing these things in as soon as possible. This is the time to kind of slow down and make sure that we are 100% ready to put this stuff in that boat. We're fixing to do something that is against all conventional wisdom. This doesn't make sense to me, and it never has, but this is the way you're supposed to put stringers in a boat. What I've done is I've taken a long piece of my foam and I've cut it to 1/4 inch. So it's 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch, and you realize I've got 3/4 inch stringers. What I've done is I've cut them down to little pucks like this. We're actually going to lay them in the hull at strategic locations to keep those stringers from sitting directly on the hull. You don't want that. So we're going to actually use this because the PL, when you put the stringer on the PL glue, I did a test right there. When you put it, the weight of the stringer pushes all the PL glue out, and then the stringer sits on the hull. What happens when the stringer sits directly on the hull is it can cause a hard spot. When the hull flexes, which they do, against a hard spot, it can actually crack against that hard spot and split your hull. So you do want these stringers to sit off, and from what I've read is anywhere from 1/8 to 1/2 inch. I'm splitting the difference. I'm going to do 1/4 inch all the way around. And those things got static electricity on them like crazy. And what I'm going to do is I put a little dab of PL on them to hold them down, so that way the wind doesn't blow them. So I'm going to get up in there, and also what I did is, you see what I saved? This is the back side of the boat originally, and you can see that's my step up I've got to do. Now I know where my deck height is inside the boat because I drew the Sharpie line across the back on the transom. And what I did is I measured down 5 inches is what this was right here, including the skin, and then I marked it on the inside of the transom. And here's why, is that we're going to be gluing these in all the way. How little mockingbird came in here. Check that out. He's right there. He just landed right beside me. Must have been getting a June bug. By the way, yeah, it's not June, but it's April and the June bugs are already out. Let's back up and see if he comes and gets his cricket. There he goes. Huh, got his little cricket. Took off. So anyway, where was I? It comes down so that way you don't glue all the way up, because we're putting the stringers in full height. And so what I'm going to do is I've got it marked on the transom, so when I put my PL glue on, I don't go up higher than that little spot right there, and that's where we're going to cut, so we don't have any mess to clean up. So that's our next step, is I'm going to get in here and put these little pucks in the strategic locations, and then I'm going to lay down a big thick bead of PL and get my wife out here to help me lay these suckers in here, so that way we can get them set in, and then I can fillet the seams. Alright, it's kind of hard to see, but you see there's one of those little spacers, there's 2, there's 3. They're kind of, what I did is I went all the way up to the first one and then across the bulkheads, and I've glued them in with some PL just to hold them in place so the wind doesn't get them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my PL and I'm going to create a long bead all the way down and all the way across, and then we're going to just slowly drop the stringer into place. And then I'm going to have my wife hold one side, and then I'm going to go do the other side, and then we'll get the middle one into place also. It's probably going to be a pretty messy job, so I've got my acetone ready, and I've got rags to wipe off any excess. I've got my tongue depressors right there, and an extra set of PL. So trying to get this thing, planned out, so when we put it in here we don't have any goof ups. So that's what we're going to try next, is get this in here and get it lined up. Alright, well, we have the aft section of these stringers in and PL'd in, and it all went smoothly. Went against my better judgment and did the fillets with the PL glue. If I remember correctly, they all bubble up. I got the fillets, or the fillets, going just perfect, all rounded off, and they're all starting to bubble. So it's going to create uneven spots. So I'll probably have to come back and sand these down or something to that to get it smooth again. And then I'm going to have to... Okay, where was I before I was so rudely interrupted? Yeah, I'll have to come back with peanut butter. I'll squeeze it in with my wife has these really cool cake icing dispensers, and put it in the corners and do my fillets all over again. I just don't think that the PL is going to work very well. It's going to create too many undulations. You can see how that one's starting to bubble up. That's what it's doing on all the seams, everywhere. So I don't know how people use PL and then actually glass over it with it actually sticking and not creating air pockets. So I'll keep an eye on it, and if it's too bad, we'll just sand it down, which is another step. And then we'll put more peanut butter in there and mix up some peanut butter thickened with Cabicil just to create the fillet. And then I'm going to go in and take a break for a few minutes, let this kind of set up a little bit, and come back and put the forward stringers in. Alright, well, all the stringers are in. Well, I say all of them. The middle ones are. Those were a pain in the ass. They warped a little bit, I guess, over the week of drying with resin on them. And this one on the side kind of bows out. Honestly, it's not going to make that big of a difference. It still lays in there just fine, but it's about ½ inch off from that forward bulkhead, so I'll have to remake that bulkhead. But everything else is doing pretty well, just like I thought. The PL was going to bubble up like a mow, and it did. What I'm going to do when I'm tomorrow or whenever, I'm going to mix up a huge batch of peanut butter. I'm going to redo all these fillets and make them thicker, so it's easier to round out the corners. I'm really going to round out the corners probably 2 inches or so, just to make it nice and easy to work with, because this PL is a pain in the butt. It's sticky, it gets everywhere, although it makes it nice to be able to move around with it. And actually I can't do the peanut butter tomorrow because you have to wait 48 hours for this stuff to cure, so we'll wait for it to cure and then I'll start doing it during the week if I got time. So those are in. Hopefully tomorrow this is dry enough that I can actually cut this to height. So we'll see. But and then that way, then once I get it to height, then I can put these stringers in, and then I can lay a level all the way across it, and then that will scribe my my outside stringers. So I've got a method to my madness, slowly but surely. Oh, by the way, give you an update on materials. I've used 5 tubes of PL. That includes the transom and bedding in these stringers, so I'm gonna have to go buy some more tubes. I am right at the end of my first 5 gallon of resin, so I've definitely used up a bunch. I'm probably gonna need more resin, I can almost guarantee that. My fiberglass is looking okay. We've got lots of trop strand left and lots of 1708, so we'll see how the stringers look after it's all said and done, what I got left, but that's my material usage so far.